In the morning when I'm driving, I really come alive when I listen to my Ronnie, I listen to my Ronnie Q. They are rare and they are few who can compare with Ronnie Q. So grab a chair, she's coming through. She's on the air, it's time for Ronnie Q. They are rare and they are few who can compare with Ronnie Q. So grab a chair, she's coming through. She's on the air, it's time for Ronnie Q. Ronnie Q. It's time for Ronnie Q. Ronnie Q. It's time for Ronnie Q. In the morning while I'm driving, Ronnie Q. I really come alive when it's time for Ronnie Q. I listen to my Ronnie. Ronnie Q. I listen to my Ronnie. It's time for Ronnie Q. Take a seat and go meet Ronnie. Sweet, 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 sweet Ronnie. No day complete without my Ronnie. She can't be beat. Sweet, sweet Ronnie.
Grand Rising, Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Hello, how are you guys doing this morning? Harpo, who this woman? Harpo, who this woman? Harpo. Hey, Mildred, Grand Rising, Mildred, Ratchet RN. Blessings to you as well. Lee, brand new, Grand Rising. Max Boogie, Rich Risings. Yes, Rich Risings. Okay. We got questions. Anybody know who that lady is? Thank you for joining me this morning. Please hit the like button. I appreciate it. My goals are always, if you learned something new or you didn't know and you would like to hit one of my goals for today, that is my goal. It's just to teach you guys something that you may not have already known. Hey, Jackson Street, 2300 Jackson Street, Grand Rising. Same to you, Mildred. Okay. No. What is the no for? Jackson Street. Y'all don't know who this woman is? Harpo, who this woman? Harpo, who is this woman? No, do any of you guys know who that woman is? I don't see nobody writing. Yes. Oh, that's what the no is for. Oh, you're saying no, you don't know who the woman is. Okay. I appreciate you giving an answer. Okay. So, today is, we have one more day in Black History Month. And if you guys are not aware, I'm thinking real hard. She looks like a nursing supervisor at a nursing home. You're kind of on the right track. I will give you that. Nurse Ratchet. You're actually on the right track. We're going to talk about it after we talk about ourselves a little bit. We're going to do Black History. Do not forget that tomorrow is Black History Month. I mean, this is tomorrow's the last day in Black History Month. And they're asking if you are sick of the direction these corporations are taking advantage of the black dollar uh, and disrespecting black people by shutting down DEI initiatives that they had formerly agreed to do in their retail stores to make your voice heard with your dollar on tomorrow. And do not shop or spend your money with anyone unless it's a black owned business. So I'm just giving you guys the reminder about that. Like I said yesterday, the Montgomery boycott went on for over a year, and the bus lines suffered, and without that money, and we don't. Some of us don't understand that the power that the black dollar actually has. So if you want to show your disdain by withholding your dollar, tomorrow is the day to do it. Woo child. No, she's not from a TV show. Okay, I'm in Oakland, and they had the biggest parade here for Black History Month uh Tuesday, I think you're saying. It was it was a lot was a lot going on. It was a lot going on. It was a lot going on in Oakland. But that's good. I am so glad to hear that. So, hey, Daniel Berry, Sports and Highlights. So, since 45, 47 decided to uh, mandate that there would be no Black history representation via having the Department of Defense take all of Black history off of the calendar for this month and not attend any Black history events for to choose recruit the highest Black engineers event, an event that they always used to go to. So, and also they took Juneteenth off the calendar. They also took other the Jews Remembrance Day off, but that's not my problem. I'm worried about my thing in the Hispanic whatever day they had, Gay Pride. Those are not my problems. I'm worried about my Black History thing. So I just want to be truthful, but I'm worried about my Black History thing because when they took the DEI initiative out of the Department of Defense, one of the things that was stated that 45, 47 wanted it to trickle down into corporations. And that's exactly what it has done. So, you know, uh, that's how it usually go. When good things are added uh, for our rights, they trickle down into your jobs and corporations and where you spend your money. So he wants this bad thing to trickle down. So tomorrow, if you want to show that you're going to have to respect my dollar to get my dollar, don't buy anything tomorrow. Think about what you may need tomorrow and maybe buy it today or buy it Saturday. Just, you know, acknowledge the cause with your by withholding your dollar. And I played yesterday. This young lady had a schedule out where the month of March you don't shop at Walmart. The month of April, you don't shop at Target. The month of May, you don't shop at Amazon. And then the following month, you don't shop at the following 2 months. I'll play it for you guys again. And it's for people. Okay, so it's Amazon, Target, and Walmart. And you guys may, and there's many other companies that pulled out a DEI, but they're concentrating on the big ones, the ones that make the most money, which would be Amazon, Target, and Walmart. So Target has already had a loss of over $15.7 billion. They've lost from since they announced that they are no longer participating in DEI. And let's understand that them not participating in DEI, what that also means is they are not looking for black owned businesses to carry in their store. Now, it's not just about uh, their hiring practices in upper management and all of that type of stuff. It's also how they would give black businesses a chance to be seen and to be purchased on a wide scale. So they're no longer going to be doing that. So there's fashion in a fashion there is a fashion, what do I want to say she is? Influencer. She's a fashion influencer that I watch all the time. And she had a surprise thing that she had a clothing line that was created in Target, and that clothing line out, sold out in all the Targets. And then she had a launch, and then she had the second part of a launch, and then she was slated to have a second. Launch with all new clothes coming out. I don't know if that's still ongoing with her. They had several black clothing designers that they got with, who they made a line of clothing, and were able to sell their clothing at Target. Hey, Candy Cane, Grand Rising. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. So it, you know, so it's many different ways that them not going with the DEI initiative um, harms us from getting ahead in getting our products and our ideas out there to the masses. So um, let them know how you feel about it. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so today in Black History, let me share my screen with you guys. Don't forget to hit the like button on your way in. And if you've learned something today, um, you may want to hit the goals, because I have a goal to help you and myself learn some new things today. So today in Black History, we're going to talk about Project 1619. Now, uh, let me give you a little. Is it? I think it's on here about Project 1619. A little history on it. Okay.
We don't talk about human bondage as the beginning of what would become America.
We offered a contribution to America, the colonies, because we helped develop, build it.
somebody uncovers a new piece of history. It's been hiding for hundreds of years.
As we pause to put a moment that marks part of the making of America into greater context. History rolled onto the shores of Freedom's Fortress on a hot August day in 1619. This is Fort Monroe in Hampton, Virginia. Few people know about the fight for freedom and equality that began here centuries ago, or the African people whose lives, agency, and futures were decimated and disrupted. A marker on this decommissioned military site reveals part of that story.
It's a surprising reason people were healthier in the
Hold
70s.
on.
Chuck and I were both
apologize.
around in the 70s.
Let me get past this commercial.
But as you may already know, how history is taught depends on who tells the story. It starts with a perilous journey. The first Africans brought to English North America were captured by the Portuguese during a time of war in Angola and placed on the Spanish slave ship San Juan Batista. British pirates seized that ship during a fierce battle at sea and snatched the Africans on board off the coast of Mexico. Those Africans were then divided and placed on the White Lion and Treasurer and brought to the colonies to be traded for food.
Okay, so I'm playing this for teaching purposes under the Fair Use Act. I'm not going to play all of it. I just want you guys to understand that they are so against this Project 1619 being taught that the same people who the Heritage Foundation have a whole video about what is wrong with the teachings that are in this 1619 project. But they found it okay to create their Project 2025. And notice in 2025, they have taken back all the gains that we have fought for up until this point. So let's continue.
It laid the foundation for a more expansive form of oppression that would become part of the fabric of a new nation.
This whole notion of, well, 1619 is the start of what would become America. It's a part of democracy. It's a part of the evolution of what would become America, perhaps. The ugly story, though, is that we are talking about human beings who were here against their will, who were treated as property, who were forced to work in inhumane conditions, and who were terrorized.
And see, the problem with that is that they don't want you to accept that we are the fabric of this nation. That's the thing that they are unaccepting of. So,
how is it that we have been led to believe for nearly 400 years that the point of landing was actually in Jamestown?
The arrival or the landing of African people at Jamestown 1619 fits in a package that benefits, I think, persons who think that history should be neat and tailored, without the flaws and without the nuances and without realities that really impact Black people.
The landing at Point Comfort, present-day Hampton, has been documented for centuries. In this letter from Jamestown colonist John Rolfe to Sir Edwin Sandys, treasurer of the Virginia Company of London. In it, Rolfe notes the arrival at Point Comfort of 20 and odd Negroes, but historians only recently discovered this in the past 25 years.
Okay, so I'm gonna pause it there. The link is in the description box. Excuse me. The link is in the description box if you want to finish that video, and I'm going to share my second one right here. This is about 1619 project as well.
Last year, the New York Times published the 1619 Project, an immensely ambitious, influential, and controversial reframing of American history. The project's creator, Nikole Hannah-Jones, who won a Pulitzer Prize for her work, argued that the U.S. Constitution was a decidedly undemocratic document and that anti-Black racism runs in the very DNA of this country.
And she was viciously attacked. She has been viciously attacked for this project. So let's continue.
Our country says that we were founded to be a democracy, but we were actually founded as a slaveocracy.
This interpretation of the American founding has been the subject of a heated debate. The 1619 Project has also been adapted into a high school curriculum that attempts to reframe U.S. history by marking the year when the first enslaved Africans arrived on Virginia soil as our nation's foundation.
And you notice that they want to take African American history out. I think this is the point that they are calling, they're teaching the children critical race theory. Because to actually learn the truth about history, they're totally against. And this is history. This is America's history. Okay, but they just want to package it up as to the point that they say we were immigrants to this country. Let's continue.
Foundational date. After the 1619 Project was attacked by 5 eminent historians, the project's editor responded by reiterating Hannah-Jones's view that advances for minority groups have almost always come as a result of political and social struggles in which African Americans have generally taken the lead, not as a working out of the eminent logic of the Constitution. But this view of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence.
And African Americans have generally taken the lead. We look at affirmative action. Who have benefited the most from that? White women. We look at the executive order that President Lyndon Johnson with the executive order where he said there can be no more discrimination in government contracts. Who benefited the most from that? White women. So now that is kind of why after this election and all of the stuff that this nation is faced with, because these white women went and voted for somebody who wanted to take their actual bodily rights away from them, and they still voted for them anyway. For these Hispanics who had heard people say that they're going to deport them, that they still voted for them anyway, and now they're upset, now they're crying, now they're asking how come we're not supporting them, because we're tired of supporting the obvious shit. Something that's so obvious, but you guys can't see it. That Black people are humans too, but we got to march and fight and all of this for it. And you guys are the ones who are benefiting more from it than us. So fuck you. Let me continue. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say all that, but it is what it
is at odds with that of Frederick Douglass, the escaped slave, abolitionist, author, and towering figure in American history. In his new book, A Glorious Liberty, Frederick Douglass and the Fight for an Anti-Slavery Constitution, Reason's senior editor Damon Root looks at the arguments that took place in the middle of the 19th century over racism and America's founding, which are being replayed today.
If you look at what Frederick Douglass and William Lloyd Garrison were fighting over in the 1840s and 1850s, you see what people are fighting about right now, which was the founding, just a pro-slavery compact, and Douglass completely rejects that.
As a former slave, Douglass had no illusions about racism, but his view of the Constitution, which he called a glorious liberty document, would put him at odds with many of its contemporary critics.
Douglass's challenge really is that the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence lay out these powerful principles, but why don't we live up to them? Clearly, the nation is not living up to those principles. Habeas corpus, due process of law, the right to keep and bear arms, any of those things, if sort of fully enforced, that's, slavery can't stand. And he would point that out again and again and again.
Root argues that Douglass was a classical liberal who believed in the primacy of individual rights and economic freedom. One of his intellectual adversaries was the slavery apologist George Fitzhugh, whose 1854 book, Sociology for the South, or The Failure of Free Society, defended slavery by repudiating the principles of liberalism.
He has this attack on John Locke, attack on Adam Smith, attack on all these liberal principles, and you see Frederick Douglass picking up the banner of those principles and making it the bedrock of his all-out war on slavery. He talked about the powerful experience of earning his first free dollar on the docks in New Bedford, Massachusetts, when he escapes, and what that meant to him, that he was now his own master, a tremendous fact, he writes in one of his autobiographies. It all comes back to this idea of self-ownership. Locke's theory of self-ownership, property rights, begins with the ownership in yourself, and everything flows out from that.
Unlike many of his contemporaries, Douglass extended his beliefs in unalienable individual rights to women as well. In 1848, he attended the Seneca Falls Convention that launched the women's suffrage movement.
There are 100 people at the Seneca Falls Convention. He's one of 32 men.
So who was the groundswell under the women's suffrage movement? A black man, because women had no right. They were damn near property of their husbands as well. So just check these videos out about the 1816 project. There is also like a TED Talk presentation about the 1816 project. So be sure that you check out my links. I would greatly appreciate it. So did you guys see that interview that was done with 4547 yesterday? His first, what was it? Hold on, I'm doing something. Did you guys see his first cabinet press conference yesterday? Hey, Yatanya Joan. Hey, Brick Girl Haley. Hello, Madison. Hey, Candy Cane. Thank you guys for coming in. Did you guys see did you guys see that yesterday? I guess not. I know it's a delay. Hey, did I say Yatanya? Hey, Yatanya, how are you? Y'all not answering? Y'all ain't got nothing to say. Y'all don't have nothing to say? Is my mic on? Let me make sure, y'all just not talking. So, did anybody hear? Well, thank you, Auntie Donna. You did see it. I just was making sure I just wasn't talking to myself. Thank you. I appreciate it. So, now, I found it really strange that all of the sudden, the muskrat has some plausible deniability. Who is Amy Gleason? Can somebody tell me who that is? Does anybody know who this woman is? Mildred Ratchet said it looks like a mean nurse, charge nurse at a convalescent hospital. But she actually is a nurse by trade. So that's why I said you're partially true. Good morning, Mike Lewis, Grand Rising. So if you guys saw the, what was it? The president in the with his cabinet yesterday, and before his cabinet could speak, the muskrat stood up and just said a whole bunch of lies. But he prefaced it with, sometimes we make mistakes, and we may make mistakes, but when we make mistakes, we're going to correct them, like we did with the Ebola. We were doing things to cut down the government, and we made a mistake with Ebola virus, and we quickly corrected it. Do y'all remember him saying that? If you watch, I know it's a lot to watch him. I was just talking at the TV screen all while he was talking, and then all while 45, 47 was sitting up there lying. But let's see what he said about the Ebola virus. Remember the Ebola virus? That was the virus that all your insides, they liquefy, and you just bleed out through your mouth, your nose, your ears, your tear ducts. Remember when and it was like really, really contagious. Let's see what this muskrat said about the fact that in cutting aid, he just is cutting stuff and having to rehire people who are in critical positions in the government. But hey, just cut them. Just tell me what you did last week. A whole bunch of bullshit that he's been doing. Let's find out.
We will make mistakes. We won't be perfect. But when we make a mistake, we'll fix it very quickly. So, for example, with USAID, one of the things we accidentally canceled very briefly was Ebola. Ebola.
We accidentally canceled very briefly, and he laughs after it, like it is like, oops. What's funny about the Ebola virus, and when it's so contagious and deadly? Let's hear that again. Let's hear the little laugh.
Canceled very briefly was Ebola, Ebola prevention. I think we all want Ebola prevention. So we restored the Ebola prevention immediately.
Well, if you know that we all want Ebola prevention, how so was it canceled in the first place? Because they're not paying attention to anything that they're doing. It is alleged that Elon Musk is a ketamine drug abuser. Now, at this point in the game, these are supposed to be federal workers. They said some of the muskrats, the tech people who he has working under him, have been absorbed into the Treasury Department and all of this. I want to know, have they done their drug tests yet? This is what I want to know. This is what I want someone from the press to ask. Have they done what every other government worker has to do prior to getting their job, doing a standardized drug test? I want to know this. Let's continue.
And there was no interruption.
That's not true. Today, Donald Trump's top campaign donor claimed during a weird, filmed for TV cabinet meeting that although he had accidentally, in his role as Donald Trump's top campaign donor, ended all Ebola prevention efforts of the U.S. government. After they realized that's what had happened, it was restarted. It was just a very brief interruption, and it all could, or not even an interruption. It was very briefly stopped, but then restarted without interruption. People who actually work on these matters for the U.S. government and in this field say none of this is true. Public health experts, including current and former USAID officials, say that the Ebola prevention efforts were hobbled, that they've not been restarted. In 2014, you might remember there was an outbreak of Ebola in West Africa. Doctors from the United States went to countries like Guinea to go track cases and treat patients. A doctor named Craig Spencer was one of those doctors who responded to that outbreak, and he became the first person in New York City to test positive himself for Ebola in October 2014, after he was abroad treating Ebola patients in Guinea with Doctors Without Borders. Ebola has a really high mortality rate. It kills more than half the people it infects. In Dr. Spencer's case, he had 19 days in the hospital, but he survived. Today, he wrote this in response to Elon Musk's remarks about Ebola prevention being accidentally stopped, but then started back up again with no interruption. He said, quote, on January 29th this year, Uganda reported an Ebola outbreak. Normally, the U.S. would have quickly sent one of our Ebola experts to help the response. But this time we didn't, because we couldn't, because this administration wouldn't let them go right when this outbreak was declared. Normally, the U.S. would have helped set up border screening and other measures on the ground, but this time we didn't. Normally, we would have spoken with the WHO about helping end the outbreak, but this time...
Normally, they would have spoken to the WHO, but you didn't, because President 4547 has taken us out of the World Health Organization. So we know you didn't do that. Let's continue.
We didn't, because CDC staff weren't even allowed to talk to them.
That's why they weren't even allowed. The Centers for Disease Control was not allowed to talk to them. Let's understand that the Center of Disease Control is not allowed to talk to American citizens either. Why aren't they allowed to talk to American citizens? Because they've been put on a order, a communications blackout at America's federal health agencies, the CDC, the FDA, the Health and Human Services, the NIH have all been told to pause external communications, including publishing scientific reports, updating websites. They are not even updating websites so you can go on and get information about different diseases, or issuing health advisories. Okay, so let me see if I want anything else from that. The link is in the description box.
Joining us now is Dr. Craig Spencer. He's Associate Professor of Health Services Policy and Practice at Brown University School of Public Health. He's also the New York City emergency room doctor who survived Ebola after treating Ebola patients in Guinea with Doctors Without Borders nearly about a decade ago now. Dr. Spencer, I really appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you.
Good to see you again.
So it's always good to see you because you had Ebola. And so anytime that I see you, I feel like I have hope that these sorts of things can be survived, these horrific diseases. I have to ask what your reaction was to seeing Elon Musk today bring up Ebola unprompted, laugh about it, and then suggest that while he had accidentally cut off all U.S. government efforts to combat it, everything was fine now because it had all been restarted without interruption.
Well, Rachel, I was remarkably confused because for the past month, I have been talking to people who normally would have responded to this Ebola outbreak in Uganda, the Marburg outbreak in Tanzania, and guess what? They didn't. For the last decade, I have followed every single outbreak of viral hemorrhagic fevers like Ebola. I know everyone that is doing this. I know where they're responding. I know the people in Uganda at the Ministry of Health. I've heard from people who normally would be supported by our country, by our government, to set up border screening, to do the contact tracing on the ground. They're not getting paid. Countries are asking them to work for free.
contact tracing. See, that's one of the very first and most important things that you need to do is contact tracing. If somebody has been in, why do you think every time you make a doctor's appointment, they ask you, have you had any COVID symptoms? Have you been sneezing, this, that, and the other? Because they want to make sure, have you gone out of the country in the past 14 days? Why do you, that's because they need to be able to contact trace these diseases. They need to know if you've been in a country where there is an outbreak of this disease. But we're on a actual blackout from the people who are supposed to be collecting and dispersing this data have been shut down by 4547. So this is also in the description box. Contact tracing. They can understand where you've been, who you've been around, since you been sick, and if they go to those people to see if it's been passed on. In something as serious as Ebola, do you understand? While he's talking about Uganda, somebody from Uganda could have came to the United States on a plane full of people. So it's bullshit. It's absolutely bullshit. Okay, so I'm gonna anything, y'all got nothing on that? Oh, I see a couple of comments. Hey, Auntie Donna, Grand Rising. Did I speak to you, Candy Cane? Grand Rising, Z Sarah. Bertha Mae Jackson, thank you. I hope you did learn something. Hey, Michi Black. Hey, M. Renee. Thank you all for being here. Now, Rose, who is that on that picture? Yes, I've already discussed that, Rose Bennett. And they actually have a year-long schedule for boycotts. I'll play it after I get through with some of this other stuff that I'm playing. Let me see. So while he's sitting up, let's go to this one. While he's sitting up, lying and cutting everyone else's job, what has he been up to?
Welcome to the show, my friends. Well. Just days after we were told Elon Musk would not be getting any government contracts while he's doing this extraordinarily important and powerful work for Doge, Trump told us he's personally keeping an eye on it very strongly, very alpha. Elon Musk's company, SpaceX, has received a government contract. Yes, that is exactly what's going on. Let's break down this spectacle of corruption brought to you by the unholy, ungodly alliance of Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Just days after Musk's so-called Department of Government Efficiency, which, sounds like it's something pulled from a bad 80s movies, slashed hundreds of critical jobs at the FAA, including safety personnel, Musk's company, SpaceX, has secured a beautiful deal with the FAA to manage U.S. airspace using his own Starlink satellites. If that doesn't scream conflict of interest, is there any such thing as a conflict of interest? Remember this from a few days ago? Will Elon secure any government contracts while working on Doge? And Trump says, no, we wouldn't let him. And I'm personally monitoring everything.
They need a... Okay, so I'm of the opinion, let's not, we will be remiss in the fact that he has frozen any more air traffic controllers being hired. We would be remiss if you didn't understand that they have fired people in the FAA that are in charge of safety. So in no time, I don't think in my adult life that I have heard about so many airplane crashes, fatalities in the U.S. Coming from the U.S. that I have in the first month of this presidency. So with the firing freeze and the saying that people who are DEI hires, they are not intelligent enough for the job at the FAA, and all of this type of stuff. I am wondering, was all of this a setup for this welfare queen to actually go in and get a new contract with his Sterling thing? Was this all for an excuse? I mean, and let's not pretend like people in power don't look at people who are not in power as useless pawns, and would put their lives at risk to get what they want because they don't think your life is important anyway. I'm just saying. Was all of this aircraft safety issues that's been going on back to back to back this past month a way for him to get in? But see, because our system of air traffic control, while it has not been perfect, it has not been this fucked up. I understand some improvements, but to go over to his does he do anything? I thought Sterling was a way to get the internet. So how is it going to be the solution for air traffic control? Has he studied our current air traffic control systems to see what he needs to do to make it better? How could he do that when he's on X texting 15 texts in 16 minutes? How can he be doing all of this research on our FAA? I'm just curious. How is Starlink the solution to our air traffic control problem? So the Doge team, how are they proficient in air traffic controller? They have the best people, the same people. Okay, I'm not going to repeat myself. Let me see if there's anything else on this. Hold on.
Protection, yes.
You mentioned Elon Musk and the efforts that he's undertaking with your authority. You granted him new authority this week. Will he secure any new government contracts while he is working on Doge?
No, not if there's a conflict.
Not if there's a conflict.
There's no conflict, I guess. What difference does it make? But we won't let him do anything having to do with the conflict.
Are you personally checking to make sure there's no conflicts of interest?
Yeah, I am.
He answers to you.
Sure, he does.
Yep. Sure. Trump's personally involved. He's in up to his elbows checking for conflicts of interest. Now, this is the type of conflict, this is the type of deal, rather, that smells, I would argue, worse than the bathroom where Trump had the classified documents stacked up to the gaudy chandelier. This is the kind of deal where Musk, who loves to act as though he's above the rules, gets to be above the rules, and he gets to cash in on a government contract while slashing jobs at the agency responsible for regulating his company. Think of it. And by the way, we'll get to what's going on in aviation. Another near miss, this time at Chicago's Midway Airport. On the one hand,
I showed you that near miss yesterday. So that we're talking about how Elon Musk is under investigation for his actual businesses right now. For his SpaceX. So what does he do when he come in as Doge? He fire all the inspector generals that are over the administrations, where he fires the inspector general at the Labor Department, all of these inspector generals? What about the investigation about his self-driving cars that caused so many deadly accidents? He actually wants that data to be redacted, that they don't have to report this data. It's that bad. And he's saying that he's going to have fully self-driving cars out next year. But they're going to he wants all the data about all of the deadly crashes that they've had with these self-driving cars to be redacted from any information. You're not going to be able to find any information. They don't want to collect that information. This is what he's doing.
And we have a situation with aviation safety where even if we don't blame Trump, we would all come to the table and say, this is not the time to slash FAA. This is not the time to slash safety personnel, reduce air traffic control. But that's exactly what they're doing. And meanwhile, in swoops Elon Musk like a phoenix rising over the horizon to say, hey, you know what? Give me some money and my Starlink satellites are going to be able to do some of this work. Now, for those who might believe Elon when he says, I'm not involved in a lot of these companies. Sure, I'm the owner, but I'm not running it. I'm not the administrator. I'm not, fill in the blanks. Elon Musk is not a passive observer here. He is actively involved. They're shipping thousands of Starlink terminals to the FAA. He got involved with Starlink and Ukraine. And meanwhile, they're cutting FAA staff responsible for, to some degree, regulating the business of these satellites. Consider that. Those satellites are governed and regulated by the very FAA that is being cut. So it's all a mess. It's backroom deals, it's conflicting interests, and it's a complete and total reckless disregard for public safety. And it puts the FAA in a situation where it's now stuck trying to balance legitimate safety concerns with dealing with the fallout from Elon Musk's mass layoffs and his criticism of the very system that regulates him. And the fact that the Trump administration, with which Musk
and the FAA is not going to be able to regulate his Starlink stuff. That's what he's saying. So the FAA knows what the FAA needs, but they're not going to be able to regulate this Starlink stuff that he has now got a brand new contract. Okay, so this link is in the chat. In the description box. Let me, hey, Barry Carey, good to see you. Hey, Paul Graves. And while we're talking about the welfare queen that is the muskrat, let's see how many government contracts he has gotten. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the welfare queen who wants to take Social Security and Medicaid away. Okay. But he's steadily winning government contracts. Okay. Unabashed. Let's continue.
Post has new reporting on just how much taxpayer money Elon Musk's companies are getting. And according to their analysis of publicly available contracts, Musk has taken $38 billion in taxpayer subsidies over the last 20 years. $38 billion. The Post suggests that the sum could be larger since Musk has a number of contracts with defense agencies that are confidential. Guaranteed is more money than $38 billion. This comes as the tech billionaire continues to push his team to slash $1 trillion from the deficit. Joining me now is Ron Insana, and CNBC senior analyst. Ron, more money. Here we go. Dude,
yeah,
$38 billion.
What's really strange about this, this is like having the existing or the current CEO of an auto company, of a defense contractor, making decisions about policies that affect them directly. This is not something we would allow under any other set of circumstances, and yet it seems to be. It's not even a backroom deal. It's happening in plain sight,
in plain sight. So this link is in the description box for you as well. Let me say hello to Room Shaker, Grand Rising, Paul Graves. Good to see you over here. And Jill's Comfort Zone, Grand Rising. Okay, so these links are in the description box. These are some just a little information that I wanted to share with you guys to let you understand how ridiculous that press conference yesterday was. Uh, let me stop sharing. Okay. So, what do you guys think about that? Or have you considered that? Did you know that? What do you think about that now that you hear how boldly this man who is saying that the whole line of uh, getting an email on Saturday afternoon for people in the federal workforce to tell him 5 things that they did last week. And if you don't have it in by midnight on Monday, you're going to be fired. So then they tried to act like, half of the people, like 1 million people, they were expecting an email from approximately 2 million federal workers. 2 million. And about half of them did respond to the email. A whole lot of them, many of them who were sitting at that table. And when 47 spoke about it, he said, well, I don't think that people will have a problem with, him just asking what you did last week. I can tell you what I did 6 weeks ago. I can tell you 5 things I did 6 weeks ago. I don't think anybody here will have a problem with it. And then they sitting up there with shit all over their face because Pete, the drunken, I had told the Defense Department that they did not have to answer that letter because what they do is none of his business, basically. The head of the FBI told them that they didn't have to answer that letter. It was several cabinet people who said that, no, you do not have to answer that letter. But then you got 45, 47 sitting up there saying that he didn't think anyone at the table when he knew better. And then it got to the fact they asked, well, are the people getting fired? I don't see the problem. He just wanted to know if the people were alive. There's some people he don't even know if people are paid and they're not alive. Well, he should know. Well, if that's the only way to know if you got people who are actually not working in your agency, and that's the only way for you to know is to have 2 million people email you, how efficient is that? How big is this Doge team? We just hear about the 5 college dropouts who go into buildings and paste up paper and take all the data that they want out of the computer. Who was going to read those 2 million emails that demanded 5 things that you did last week from your job? And then he goes pussyfooting around. Well, I think we can give them another chance, and I really don't want it. It wasn't about the 5 things that they did. I just wanted to know if there was a human being attached. So you have a name. You have a name of somebody that you're sending an email out to, and you want to know that if there's a real person. But do they work under somebody who can send you one email, look at the list of names, and tell you, hey, yes, this person worked here? Is that all you really wanted to know? No, you wanted 2 million people to justify their jobs. And if you felt like they didn't justify why they had their job, you were going to fire them. Just like you fired the people who were over our nuclear arsenal and to keep it safe. Just like you fired them. Just like you fired the people who work on Ebola, and they have not been fully put back into their jobs as of yet. But you pretended like, when I realized I made the mistake, this is some bullshit that's going on. And I just cannot believe that this shit is actually going on, playing with people's jobs. They're talking about laying off 1 million people, but I already told you that. I told you that when I was trying to get everybody to get out and go vote. Because the Heritage Foundation wanted to, I showed you the video of the man who said that they have about 2 million federal workers and they wanted to get rid of the ones who would not be able to enact the conservative agenda, and that about of the 2 million workers, government workers that they had, about 90% had given to Democrats. And that was a reason why they wouldn't be able to fulfill the Republican agenda. These people who's been working 30 and 40 years in their jobs. So what different? It ain't none of your business. Their job is not to fulfill an agenda. The people at Social Security's job is not to fulfill your agenda. Okay. So now they got all these lawsuits. They got these lawsuits going on, and they're asking questions about Musk. And then all of a sudden, Musk doesn't have anything in their their response to the court filings. They're trying to take Musk far away. Like, oh no, this doesn't have anything to do with Elon. This is what they wrote. I played it for you this week. Their court responses about these firing. Oh, it's not because of Musk. It's not because of Musk. Yeah, it's because of Doge, and that's who is firing these people. A Doge. That's the person who's giving people 30 minutes to pack up their offices. That's the people who are blocking people out of their computers. That's the people who are manhandling a woman out of her office when she would not give them access to secretive information that she didn't feel that they should have, because she know they were not vetted to have this information. Okay, allegedly. So let me see what this is. Let me play it's a lot of crazy shit. Hold up. One second. Let me see what else I want to share with you guys. Okay. I think it's this one. Oh, yes, it's this one. Okay. We're talking about the things that he is getting for himself personally. Now, who is familiar with Brownsville, Texas? I know that that's a very, very small town in Texas. And look what's going on there. You know, he said that he's going to move Tesla to Texas. Kind of like the other day when I told you about how, thank you, Dr. Soapy, right on time, no singing, tell it. So Brownsville, Texas. Okay, so I know like a lot of these Silicon Valley people are moving to Florida because they have no state taxes. Elon Musk has already announced that he is moving his facilities to Texas because they have no state tax, and they are a red state that is very welcoming to him. So let me see. The poorest county in America. Let's see what's happening in the poorest county in America. I'll share this with you. Thank you, Dr. Soapy. If you learned something today, you can hit my goals. That's my goal. It's to learn something with you. Okay, let's listen.
This image, not AI. This is a very real statue of Elon Musk that exists in Brownsville, Texas. But as horrifying as it is to look at, what's happening in Brownsville is much more sinister. In 2013, Musk decided he wanted to build a private space launching facility in South Texas. Why Texas? It's a billionaire-friendly state. They have no corporate tax or state income tax. So Musk personally donated $12,000 to local Texas politicians, and his company SpaceX sent $219,000 in gifts to local Texas politicians. In 2014, SpaceX broke ground in Brownsville. Brownsville, Texas is the poorest county in the nation. In 2018, Musk said this.
He's got a lot of land with nobody around, and so if it blows up, it's cool. If it blows up, it's cool.
The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service documented 19 fires, leaks, and explosions at Starbase since 2019. But the Texas legislature passed a bill granting SpaceX immunity for any nuisances caused by their launches. So residents can't seek damages for noise, debris, traffic, or light pollution. Over the last decade, there have been 600 injuries at SpaceX facilities. One worker has been in a coma for 3 years. Another lost vision in one of his eyes. This specific SpaceX facility has an accident rate 6 times higher than anywhere in the space industry. The FAA has had to ground SpaceX numerous times because of safety problems with its rocket Starship. In September, Musk called for the FAA chief's resignation. After Trump was elected, he did. Elon donated over $250 million to Donald Trump's campaign. Now, Elon wants to turn the SpaceX facility into a company town. In December, SpaceX submitted an official petition for incorporated city status. Out of the 247 lots within the proposed city, only 10 are not owned by SpaceX. Nearly all 500 residents of the proposed city work at SpaceX and rent from SpaceX. What Elon has done in Brownsville, Texas was a practice run for what he is now doing to the entire United States. Use his money and influence to deregulate the government, to take over the government, and transform the country into the perfect ecosystem for his exponential money making.
goddamn well I haven't been talking all this time and no sound. Oh my God. Hey, Creole butterfly. Oh my God. No sound, no sound, no sound, no sound, no sound, no sound. Oh my God. Oh my God. Amy is overdosed. She's been on vacation for 2 weeks. They came out and said that Amy is the person who's overdosed. I apologize. I hate I hate when some videos put me on mute. So this is Amy. Elon Musk isn't overdosed. Amy is overdosed. Lord have mercy. So Amy is overdosed. They made this announcement on Tuesday. It started getting they said it to the press on Tuesday. I'm gonna show you how they did it. I'm gonna show, but they told you that Elon Musk was overdosed. Doge is a actual Doge pre-exists the Department of government efficiency, and you see that nothing that they're doing is very efficient by firing people over our nuclear arsenal. None of these things, firing people who are important in pandemic responses, like the Ebola virus, which is going on in Uganda. None of these stuff that they're doing is efficient. So it's not Elon Musk overdosed, because in the court of filings, when they wanted to hold him responsible, what did they do? They said, "Oh no, that has nothing to do with Musk. That has nothing to do with Musk." That was last week. That was last week. So this week, on Tuesday, they came out and let you know that this lady, Amy Gleason, is overdosed. And who is Amy Gleason? Nurse Ratchet, you are right. She is a prior nurse. She is a nurse who has a daughter. This is what I found out. This is what is written about her. Her daughter allegedly has autoimmune disease. This is all the shit I done already said. Autoimmune disease. She does work for the department that, remember when Elon was over Doge, and then when he came in, they said that Doge is going to be in the IT department. So and like yesterday, he opened up his vest to say he's the tech guy, he's the IT guy. See, all of this was a build up for the bullshit that they bought out yesterday. So that we understand that the only thing that the Musk and his muskrats have been doing is stealing the information from our IT systems that disperse treasury payments, has all the pertinent information about people who are on Social Security. This is the IT shit that they've been doing. So let's be clear. Okay, so now, who is Amy Gleason in relationship to tech? Amy Gleason started working actually in the tech department under Obama, when Obama had the Affordable Care Act roll out. And remember, when it first rolled out, a lot of people couldn't get on the site and everything. That's when she started working in the IT to get the site up and running. And then she started working for our favorite nemesis, the healthcare, uh, the healthcare conglomerates. And she was pushing out this device, I believe, that was important to her because of her daughter's situation or whatever, or something to that effect. And then she started working on the side of healthcare that helped shareholders make their money. This is what I recall. If I get something wrong, go look it up your goddamn self. This is a story that I'm telling for the second time, so I may be off a little bit. I apologize for being on mute all that time. So So now, all of a sudden, when she's on vacation in Mexico for 2 weeks, all of a sudden, her name came up on Tuesday. She's running Doge. And then they totally dropped her name. And like, oh, you guys, how did you guys didn't know that she's over Doge? It's been out for a long time. Let's hear how they did this shit. Mildred, excuse me. I can't believe I no wonder who was that? He was like, I got to go to work. She just ruined her life. I don't even know she didn't even know that they were going to announce her as being over a Doge. She didn't even know that they were going to announce her as being over Doge. And we know she's not over Doge. Hey, watching from Cloud9. Hey, Red Wing Hockey. So let's see the bullshit. What did they say? What did I ain't Bertha say? Not Bertha May. Ain't Bertha from the housewives? Ain't nothing but Todd trying to get away with the bullshit or whatever ain't Bertha say. So let's hear this Doge. Y'all know she was over Doge? How can y'all not know she was over Doge? Let's hear the lies. Okay, let me share this with you guys. Okay, so now this lying White House press secretary on Tuesday. See, they didn't already said in court filings that Musk ain't over Doge. So now they got to figure out, well, who is over Doge? We done told the whole nation that Musk is over Doge. So let me share the screen with you, and we're gonna find out how they did this hokey pokey bullshit that they trying to put over on the nation. Let's pay attention.
Great, thanks, Caroline. I wanted to ask about a federal judge yesterday was saying that they didn't know who the Doge administrator was and was asking the lawyer for the administration who it was, and the lawyer responded, "I don't know the answer to that. Can you tell us who the administrator of Doge is?"
Again, I've been asked to answer this question. Elon Musk is overseeing Doge. No, Elon Musk is a special government employee, which I've also been asked and have answered that question as well. There are career officials at Doge. There are political appointees at Doge. I'm not going to reveal the name of that individual from this podium. I'm happy to follow up and provide that to you. But we've been incredibly transparent about the way that Doge is working.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. And I agree. Those.
Let me make sure my mic is on. So if she has been transparent, why isn't she revealing who's over Doge? What's the big thing? She will not reveal it from the podium, but she will get back with you and reveal it to you off the podium. Why is that, you wonder? Because it's bullshit? I think it's because it's bullshit. So let's flesh this out a little more, why don't we? Let's flesh this out a little more for you. So let me share. All of these links are in my description box. I think it's this one. Let me see. Nope, it's not that one. Hold on. Let me go back. Hold on one second. We're going to flesh this out. I think it's this one right here. Okay, yes, it's this one. Let me share my screen with you. Yes, this is the one. Now listen to this answer. Now you just heard what she said on Tuesday, but let's see what she's saying today.
Has been the Doge administrator for quite some time, I believe several weeks, maybe a month. I'm not actually sure of this.
She's been a Doge administrator for quite some time, for several weeks or a month. I don't know. Oh, that's what she's saying now. Let's continue.
The specific timeline. She's a career official.
She's a career official. Let me put the closed caption. Does it have? Yes, it has closed caption. I don't want to repeat what she's saying.
So Amy Gleason has been the Doge administrator for quite some time, I believe several weeks, maybe a month. I'm not actually sure of the specific timeline. She's a career official.
This is a news story. Now, she's a career official, and then they're going to ask her, well, how come you guys didn't, how come nobody in the media knew this? And watch this cunt's answer.
In a major shakeup, the White House has named Amy Gleason as the acting administrator of the Department of Government Efficiency.
Okay, but see, there's one thing. There's a problem there. I hope my mic is on. But you see, there's a problem there. You can't name someone as an acting administrator unless the Congress is in recess. So if you're going to name an administrator, they have to go through confirmation via Congress. That's why they kept saying that Elon is just an advisor to the president. Congress is not in recess. So if all of a sudden on Tuesday, Amy has been named the head of this department, she has to go through a confirmation with the fucking Senate. It's bullshit. See, they come out with these backward answers. You cannot just he cannot unilaterally put someone in that position without them going through the confirmation process. And he can only put them in that position if the Congress is in recess, which they are not, and which they have not been 2 days ago. And so she said, I don't know. She's been in there a couple of weeks, maybe a month. Now, all of a sudden, it's uncertainty of when she was there because they obviously, after they put the lie out on Tuesday, they realized that, hey, we just can't put her in. Senate is not in recess. It's a but. Let me tell you how crazy these lies are, as this man continues to rack up government money while trying to put over 1 million people out of their jobs and take away any little crumb that he can get from the poor. But the Defense Department, where he gets most of his corporate welfare, has the largest budget of discretionary spending in all of the United States. $895 something trillion, but he has not gone there one time to find any waste, fraud, and abuse. Because why would he? Because that's where he get his contracts from. And the other big place that he get his contracts from is another place where he has not gone. NASA. Okay, I didn't even know NASA was still the thing because they didn't ship NASA out to private companies whole lock and barrel. So the Pentagon has not been able to complete an audit, having not even been able to give the paperwork to start a proper audit the last 6 times they were audited. But that wasn't the first place that he went to find waste, fraud, and abuse, because that's who give him his money.
But he's going to Social Security and USA and all of this shit and putting people off of their jobs, talking about they're saving money to buy down the budget. Well, to put towards the budget, and the budget is our deficit is so important. Our debt and our deficit that we in. And then what did Congress do night before last? They approved they approved, it wasn't an actual budget. They approved what they want to vote on as the budget, which they say they are going to put cuts on Medicare, Social Security, Medicaid, Social Security, how much is it in Medicaid? I think it's 8 trillion, or it could be 800 trillion cuts in Medicaid. That's Medicare for the that's medical insurance for the poor. And they are going to reinstate this tax cut that is set to expire this year. And that is one of the reasons why the United States is in so much debt in the first place. The tax cuts for the rich. But they want you to believe, and Elon Musk, that's his tax cut too, and his corporations, the rich and their corporations. But they want you to believe that they are laying people off of their jobs because they're not doing anything. And then watch this bitch say that this woman that they sitting up here as a Doge, you guys should have known she was over Doge, and watch what she say about this government worker. She just works a hard job, and she just, the reason, she needed her anonymity or something. She's just a hardworking government official. Well, wasn't they all? Wasn't they all hardworking government officials that you guys just ceremoniously told don't come back to work tomorrow in an email? These wasn't hardworking government officials. So we not supposed to give a fuck about all these people that they gave shitty firing deals to, and told them don't come back to work, locked them out of their computers. But we supposed to care about this woman. Oh, she's just a hardworking government official. Let me let y'all hear this. Let me quit talking.
Or Doge. The announcement comes after weeks of speculation about who was actually in charge of this newly established department as it slashed through federal agencies under the leadership of Elon Musk. Amy Gleason has an extensive background in healthcare technology and government service. Between 2018 and 2021, she was part of the United States Digital Service, USDS, a government agency focused on improving federal digital services. She played a crucial role in the federal COVID-19 response, working closely with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
Oh, I forgot about that. She was in there under Trump, working on the response to COVID. Bitch, you failed. Bitch, you failed. Let's continue.
And the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services to streamline operations. Before her time in government, Gleason co-founded a company aimed at helping patients with chronic diseases. That effort was deeply personal. Her own daughter was diagnosed with a rare illness, which pushed her to develop tech solutions to improve patient care. She later moved to the private sector, taking on key leadership roles. She was Chief Product Officer at Russell Street Ventures, a healthcare investment firm, and also held the same role at Main Street Health, a company focused on improving healthcare in rural communities. Both were founded by Brad Smith, a former Trump administration official who is now involved with Doge.
So Amy Gleason has been the Doge administrator for quite some time, I believe several weeks, maybe a month. I'm not actually sure of the specific timeline.
Several weeks or probably a month. I'm not sure of the specific timeline. Let's hear what you think of this government worker.
She's a career official. She's doing her job as the administrator of this organization. I know everybody's very interested in her name and who she is and what she does.
there's a lot of people who work for the federal government. They're just trying to do their jobs, and that's what she's doing.
Yeah, you're exactly right. There are a lot of federal people who work for the federal government that just trying to do their job. So that don't include all of these people from all of these agencies who are just trying to do their job. Now we're supposed to have she's just trying to do her job. She's a career no, she's not a career federal worker. She worked in the Obama administration, and then she worked in the Trump administration during that COVID situation. So get the fuck out of my face. Some of these people who y'all firing and throwing out of their job been working at 30 and 40 years. You heard how she was working independently in private for private firms. So it's a bunch of bullshit. Let me see what you guys are saying. This link is in the description box as well. I know I did a whole lot of talking because I was on mute half of the time earlier. I apologize for that. All of these links are in the description box. Let me see. I got a lot of comments. Hey, Z Sarah. Imagine working to improve healthcare while being in charge of stopping Medicaid. Hey, Red Wing Hockey. Q, unfortunately, the public don't have the information you're teaching. The corporate controlled media keeps us blinded by the propaganda. Yes, they do. And you see that a lot of this stuff is not the for-profit media that I'm giving you. You can double check it. I don't just trust my word for it. Double check it. And the right reason I use Rachel Maddow so much is because she is a Rhodes Scholar and she does thorough, great research on her topics, and I like her. Okay, let me see. Not Amy. Hey, Kings Mina. Not Amy with the meat turtle neck. Okay. She looks like the nurse from the movie Misery. Must better hope she doesn't take a bat to his legs. We could only dream. U.S. debt is getting worse every day because the whole world is offloading U.S. debt products and making it more expensive for Americans to pay for it. Exactly, because I talked about the gold standard that more countries are stacking up on gold as opposed to them stocking up on the U.S. dollar. I talked about that last week. So see, don't nobody want to hear about this type of shit. But this is I just this type of stuff just really amazes me, that all of this stuff is going on out in the open, and it's very frightening. They just be lying, child, career professional. Someone got it in for her. I cannot wait. I bet you she's not going to do any interviews and all of that and blah, 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 blah. Oh, I got one more goal to go. Red Wing Hockey, you said that you I learned to use some things today. So Red Wing Hockey, I got one more goal to make. Oh, who gave me? Stomp Down. Grand Rising Stomp Down. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Lordy. My sound is finally Amy's the fall girl. Yes. So King's Mina on a roll. Is Amy related to Jackie Gleason? Looks like him to me. It's called being given a poison chalice. Yes, yes, yes. Imagining vacationing in Cancun and not knowing you run an organization until it hits the internet. Okay. Who all thought that they were something special with a black card, but now they're coming with the gold. I talked about that yesterday. The gold card. He said that he can sell it a gold card 45, 47. The one who want to get all the immigrants out of here, stomped down. He said that he has a gold card that he wants to create for rich rich people, and they asked him, well, to come to the United States, and they can get a pathway to citizenship, and they will be welcomed right in. And they said, well, will Russian oligarchs be able to pay? He said, well, they have plenty of money, and they will be good for the economy. They will be putting so much money in the economy. U.S. is up for sale, lock, stock, and barrel. Lock, stock, and barrel. Yes, he did. The gold card. I talked about that yesterday, Kings Mina. Okay. Okay, let me see what else. America was once the envy of the world. Oh, let me see what's on her. On her social media platform, she goes by Big Amy Gibson. Do tell. Grand rising to you too. Missing a lip and fuzzy hair, just like Trump. Lord, y'all dragging poor Amy. Harpo, who this woman? Well, that's who's running Doge. Hey, Treasurer. Nothing but a scheme set up by Todd to come at us with the bullshit. I'm Bertha from Real Housewives of Atlanta. Okay, I think I caught up with the comments. Thank you, Candy Cane. I have reached my goals. Goals. Hey, Red Afro, it is good to see you, child. It is truly terrifying. Miss Bighead from Rock's Modern Life. If Miss Bighead from Rocco's Modern Life was a real person. Okay, so yeah, I just wanted to give you guys. I just thought that this shit was just something unbelievable. That they were actually trying to come with this, like, oh, I hold on one second. I I think I stepped on the part where they said, how come the press didn't know? And she said, well, you're going to have to ask them how come they didn't know, as if the information was available for them to know. Oh, yeah, she was just, she is something funky with her lies. So she said it wasn't of their fault the press didn't know. It was the people who didn't know's fault who didn't know. Let me see. Okay. Hold on. Here it is right here. Let me put the close caption on. Okay, let me share this. This is the part where she says, when they said, how come you guys didn't announce it because the media didn't know? And she said, you're going to have to ask them how come they didn't know. I want you to hear. She is such a see you next Tuesday lying ass bitch. Let me see. Here we go.
They're just trying to do their jobs, and that's what she's doing.
Doge staffers told us yesterday that they found out about her being the administrator yesterday. Why is that?
They just found out about her being the administrator yesterday. Why is that? Listen to this answer.
You have to ask them. They're clearly unaware. I don't know.
You have to ask them. They're clearly unaware. I don't know. With a laugh. Let's see this again. And it's just mind-blowing that they pulled this woman's name up out of their asses and then try to fault you for not knowing. Let's watch that again.
Who she is and what she does. There's a lot of people who work for the federal government. They're just trying to do their jobs, and that's what she's doing.
Doge staffers told us yesterday that they found out about her being the administrator yesterday. Why is that?
You have to ask them. They're clearly unaware. I don't know.
She said Doge staffers told us yesterday that they were unaware. That's what she said, Doge staffers. And she said, you got to ask them. They're unaware. Why would they be unaware? The whole United States and all over the world was aware that Elon Musk was over Doge. So you mean to tell me the Doge staffers were unaware, bitch? Okay. The link is in the description box. There's nothing more I can give you. There is nothing more I can give y'all on that. Let me see. There is something else I can give you on measles. Y'all want to talk about measles? Y'all see Robert F. Kennedy sitting up there and was very unconcerned that the first measles death was announced. A school-age child had measles, and he sat there and says that we have measles outbreaks all the time, as if it was nothing. And we definitely know that that's not true. Let's share our new Health and Human Services chair, R.F. Kennedy. Okay, I think this is it. I hope this is the one where they actually have a clip of him. I like Chris Hayes as well. Okay.
It's the first death from measles in this country in a decade. It was an unvaccinated child in West Texas, where an outbreak with at least 124 reported cases since late last month. The death is particularly alarming since America declared measles eliminated a quarter century ago, thanks to tireless research and mass vaccination efforts. Now it's back. And today, our brand new Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., probably best known for spreading anti-vaccine propaganda, is in charge.
We're watching it, and there are about 20 people hospitalized, mainly for quarantine. We're watching it. We put out a post on it yesterday, and we're going to continue to follow it. Incidentally, there have been 4 measles outbreaks this year. In this country last year, there were 16. So it's not unusual. We have measles outbreaks every year.
Well, no, that's not quite true. Actually, first of all, it's only February, but it is highly unusual. A child is dead from a disease that has not killed anyone in this country for 10 years. That is unusual. It's also not true that the 20 hospitalized kids are there mainly for quarantine. What the head of HHS said to the nation about a measles outbreak was not true. According to the chief medical officer in Lubbock, Texas, they're being treated. All were admitted because, quote, they were having trouble breathing. This is a real nightmare scenario. Something people warned about as Donald Trump floated tapping RFK Jr. to lead HHS, pointing to his involvement in a deadly measles outbreak in Samoa back in 2019. Listen to this from a PBS documentary.
Yeah, I'm aware there was a measles outbreak, but I didn't have anything, I have nothing to do with people not vaccinating in Samoa. I never told anybody not to vaccinate. I didn't, go there for any reason to do with that.
One News has learned of a high-level anti-vax meeting just before this deadly measles outbreak, a meeting between vaccination critic Robert Kennedy Jr. and anti-vax blogger Taylor Winterstein.
That right there is the guy charged with monitoring this new measles outbreak here in the U.S. after the first death in a decade from a disease once considered eradicated. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? Dr. Peter Hotez, the co-director of the Center for Vaccine Development at Texas Children's Hospital, also a dean of the National College of Tropical Medicine at Baylor College, author of The Deadly Rise of Anti-Science, A Scientist's Warning, and he joins me now. Doctor, it's great to have you. It's under terrible circumstances. You have been working on vaccines, battling vaccine disinformation, and warning about it in Texas, specifically where you live and work, for over a decade now. What's your reaction to all this?
Yeah, this is heartbreaking, Chris. I mean, this is a school-age child who was unvaccinated. This child did not have to lose his or her life. And
Okay, so I just wanted to get a couple of points out about who is over the Health and Human Services. The link is in my description box. There are a couple of more links in my description box about this measles outbreak. He is so defensive about it because he knows what he has said about vaccinations in the past, as his own children are fully vaccinated. He said that Black people don't need to get vaccinated as much as other races of people. Did you know that? Did you know that? Let me see what you're saying. Sorry, yesterday I was in the Orange Ones live. I dropped the link to Toby Nawawe's video, Moon and Sunlight. Little girl at the end saying, "Deliver me from lion lips." Well, yeah. I don't know what video you're talking about. Moon and Sunlight. I might have to check that out and try to understand what you're talking about, King's Media. I can't wait for Musk and 4547 to fall out. Girl, I'ma have a watch party. Okay, so now speaking of people who have been put into place, if I see Pete Hedgewith show up with that same motherfucking suit on again, I'm gonna lose it. I am so sick of him wearing that same suit, and because he has no bars to put on his suit like the prior what is he? Defense Secretary, him and that goddamn handkerchief with the stars and stripes on it, trying to make it appear like he has some military bars to put on his motherfucking suit. If I see that motherfucker, he got a uniform. They got uniforms for defense secretaries now, like a McDonald's uniform. Every time I see him, he in that same motherfucking suit with them tight ass pants and that motherfucking pocket square with the stars and stripes on them. Motherfucker, motherfucker, you got the job. You are the Secretary of Defense, motherfucker. You're supposed to be patriotic without having a stars and stripe in your motherfucking suit pocket every time you got a suit on, you dumb dick. That don't mean nothing. Just like you say, that big ass white nationalist tattoo on your chest is the Jewish star or whatever the fuck you said. Nigga, we know what that is. You ain't fooling nobody with all this symbolism and bullshit, motherfucker. We know who you are. Okay. I don't know where that came from. Okay. Let me, food safety. I told you yesterday who is in charge of the food safety. And it's none other than the friend of Donald Trump Jr. I showed you the video yesterday. Go check out food safety on my video yesterday. I'm going forward, not backwards. All of my links are in the description box. But kind of like the measles situation, I found this very, very interesting. We know birds of a feather flock together. As a matter of fact, in the video where I showed you the announcement of who was going to be over our food safety, they actually had dead turkeys in there. They were posing with dead turkeys that they had gone turkey hunting. Birds of a feather flock together. So, this is he has no his he was an attorney, and he would work on limiting regulations. That was his job prior to getting the job as our food safety czar. So let's hear some more stuff about food safety. And I also alerted you guys that there is a case of botulism that they are reporting on because of tuna that was bought at Trader Joe's, some Safeways. Go look at my video where I show from yesterday where you see Trump Jr. Holding a turkey, and he has his other hand in his pocket, and then he brings his hand out of his pocket, and then he rubs his finger on his no, that was at when he was at SpaceX, when he did that little move, put his hand in his pocket and rubbed his gums, and let me quit stalling. Okay, let's talk about food safety. Go look at my video yesterday and you'll find out which cans of tuna, which brand has botulism in it. You may want to avail yourself or Google it. There's a recall on certain brands of tuna because the cans didn't secure properly. But let's see what else we can see about food safety.
Can we all agree? I hereby posit, can we all agree that one thing that's bad is the bubonic plague? Now admit it, you thought I was going to say Nazis there, didn't you? I know, but we're now at the point in US politics where that can no longer be the go-to example for thing we all agree is bad. So I'm going to try to reset a new baseline for us here in 2025 in the United States of America. Is there anyone out there who does not agree or who doesn't get that the bubonic plague is a bad thing? The bubonic plague has its own era in human history, the Black Death years. There was an 8-year period in the later part of the Middle Ages in the 1300s when bubonic plague ripped through Europe. It killed 2/3 of the entire human population of Europe in 8 years. It killed 25 million people. Bubonic plague is an infectious disease that kills you quickly. You get it from a bacteria that is carried by rodents. They call it the Black Death because you get huge swollen lymph nodes and then you start turning black from gangrene. I mean, literally, it's the worst thing in the world. It's the worst plague to have ever afflicted humankind in all of human history. And you can still get it. You can still get it the same way people got it during the 1300s in the Black Death years. You get it by contact with rodents that are carrying this particular bacterium. It's not common for people to get bubonic plague anymore, but it does happen, particularly in a few specific spots in the world. So over the last few years, for example, you might have occasionally seen, alarming headlines like this one. A couple ate raw marmot believed to have health benefits. Then they died of the plague. Or this one, as bubonic plague kills another man in Mongolia, Russia starts mass vaccination against Black Death. Or this one from roughly around the same time, quote.
Now, I never heard of a marmot. I have never heard. It looks like a rat. I would be definitely. I'm kind of scared of squirrels because they are too rat-like. Red Apple. No, please tag me in it today. I haven't heard of that, so I'm breaking it up to give up. Yes. Okay. So the Black Plague, and I learned something new. I'm gonna have to cash out myself because I didn't know that the Black Plague was still a thing. Let's continue.
Russia cracks down on marmot hunting after bubonic plague alert. And actually, I should mention all those stories had to do with Mongolia. specifically with people getting bubonic plague because of contact with marmots in Mongolia. Marmots are basically big squirrels. They look like groundhogs. They're very cute, but they're big squirrels. And sadly, they are among the rodent species that can carry the bubonic plague. In fact, in some marmot populations in some parts of Asia, bubonic plague is endemic. It's really widespread in the population of those animals. So after incidents like these ones in 2019 and 2020 that occasioned those headlines that I just showed you, Mongolia had like a dozen suspected cases of bubonic plague, and people had started dying. And so in Mongolia, a few years ago, they banned the hunting of marmots to try to stop people from coming into contact with marmots, to try to stop a new tide of literally the worst thing on earth, which is bubonic plague. Because again, we all agree, right, that bubonic plague is bad. And that is why it's illegal to hunt marmots in Mongolia. Because just within the past few years, people have been catching bubonic plague thanks to contact with marmots, and they have been dying from it. Those news articles I showed you, that was incidents documented, people getting bubonic plague because of contact with marmots in Mongolia. That was 2019, 2020. In 2022, guess who went to Mongolia to do a hunting show about killing and eating Mongolian marmots? Yeah. Not the blonde son, the other one. He has a magazine and a social media company, I think it is, about hunting. And this video posted online by his company in 2022 is captioned by his company, quote, "Don Trump Jr. eats a rat in Mongolia." Hey, that's not a rat. That's a marmot. So this is a little bit gross, fair warning, but here's me showing my work. Here goes. Here's me proving it.
Guys, I'm going to go collect some firewood, okay? So we're going to experience a pretty cool Mongolian tradition. Marmot is, I guess, a delicacy.
Is it a delicacy? I guess it's a delicacy. I guess, did you do any reading? Do you understand what's going on here? What exactly you're doing here on film?
Again, it's one of those traditions, you know, they're totally true delicacy, but actually is like illegal contraband. So I got to be really clear. You were with me the whole time. We did not shoot the marmot. It's kind of contraband.
It's illegal contraband. It's kind of contrabandy, but it's a delicacy. So he don't even try to figure out why it's a contraband, because you can get the bubonic plague from it. That's why it's a contraband. But since it's a delicacy, I have to try it. You know, I'm so out there. So that's the buddy of the guy who was hunting the wild turkey and in the middle of bird flu season, who was holding up the wild turkey. So these are the choices of people who may be over your bird flu shit. Birds of a feather flock together. I just wanted to show y'all that. I thought that was quite interesting. Let me see if she connects that. I don't even know.
Contrabandy.
I don't even know if she did this story to connect it to. Oh, yes. Wait a minute. I didn't even see this. Okay, let's go here.
Commissioner of Human Foods, Deputy Commissioner, 4 steps to try to stop the bubonic with exactly those animals in exactly those circumstances. Now, I raise this because while Mongolia and its adjacent geographic neighbors like Russia have had to take some food safety regulation steps to try to stop the bubonic plague from having a 21st century resurgence, the United States similarly, for a long time now, has seen it as just a function of good government to do what we can to regulate food safety. That is a core function of the U.S. government. Last week, the person in charge of food safety for the U.S. government, the Deputy Commissioner of Human Foods, Deputy Commissioner for Human Foods, at the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, that person resigned in protest of what the Trump administration was doing to his agency, stating that the widespread and what he described as, quote, indiscriminate firings of food safety staffers at the FDA showed, quote, disdain for the people who do that work, disdain for the people with highly technical expertise, the professionals who do food safety work for the U.S. government. He said it would therefore be, quote, fruitless for me to continue in this role. So the Trump administration initiated indiscriminate mass firings according to the head of the Human Foods Program, the head of food safety for the U.S. government. He says those indiscriminate mass firings decimated human food safety responsibilities within the U.S. government, and so the head of food safety for the U.S. government resigned in protest. And I tell you that part of the story as well because the Trump administration has now chosen a new person to head up food safety for the American people. The guy who left in protest was a lifelong scientific expert in the field. The guy who the Trump administration brought in to replace him is not. He is a man who works at a law firm in Florida, not a scientist, but he is a hunting buddy of Donald Trump Jr. And I should say there's no indication that he participated in Donald Trump Jr.'s genius bubonic plague marmot meat eating adventure.
But they do hunt wild turkeys. Bird flu, anyone? Let's continue.
But that's his hunting friend. This was first reported in Vanity Fair, the guy they've put in charge of food safety.
There's the pictures of the. You don't have to go to the video I didn't watch the end of this. I just was so amazed that he was eating something that could give him the bubonic plague. After I did the story of with them holding the wild. There are the wild turkeys. Okay, let's continue.
Hunts turkeys with Don Jr. Don Jr. again thinks that was a rat he ate in Mongolia. And why is that illegal anyway? But now Don Jr.'s hunting friend will be in charge of American food safety. Among the more than 1,000 people the Trump administration has indiscriminately fired from the FDA, yesterday and today we started getting reports that, oops, once again, they've been scrambling to now try to unfire some of them, including the people they fired who work in food safety. Quote, barely a week after mass firings at the FDA, some staffers received unexpected news. Beginning Friday night, FDA employees overseeing medical devices, food ingredients, and other key areas received calls and emails notifying them that their recent terminations had been, quote, rescinded, effective immediately. FDA staffers who were reinstated said their immediate supervisors received no explanation or advance notice on the decisions. Instead, staffers received calls or emails from the FDA's Office of Talent Solutions, informing them that their access to FDA computer systems and offices had been restored. The emails concluded, quote, we are so grateful to still have you working for the FDA and serving the American public. Exclamation point. The exclamation point was part of the email. Quote, a week earlier, the same employees had received emails stating that they were, quote, not fit for continued employment. Feeling.
Wow. Department of Government Efficiency. And they're fucking with our food safety in a bad way. And we have an imbecile who practices law for corporations to unburden their hands of regulation. And one of the things, wouldn't you want the regulations to really be well in your food safety? That was my whole point of this video. It's in the description box, and let me share something else with you. The what they call them brown boot thugs. So now I'm pretty sure some of you guys have heard of Blackwater. Blackwater is a private company, and I don't know why we need companies like Blackwater to go in after our soldiers go in to basically get rich off of the defense contracts when we have the whole motherfucking selected service, Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines. So why do we need Blackwater to pay them contracts? And then Blackwater was accused, and some of them were actually found guilty, or they were in, two of them were in Guantanamo Bay. I think the story behind why is in this video, but they were committing war crimes, and they were tried about these war crimes. And you know who worked in Guantanamo Bay? Our current defense secretary. Pete Hegseth who led his platoon, and he worked in Guantanamo Bay. And he, you know what he did the last time 45 was in office? He asked him to pardon these people. And you know what 45, 47 did? He gave them pardons for exactly this. Now they're free, and now head self is over the Defense Department, and Blackwater was so tarnished that they changed their name. So what are they doing now? They're offering up their services for federal money. Let me share this link with you. Okay, let's talk about the Gestapo is here. Hold on, let me get the sound up.
Is planning on creating his own Gestapo. What would your reaction be if I told you that? Well, that's not hyperbolic. It's actually happening. So let me walk you through the plan here. This is in Politico. Trump allies circulate mass deportation plan calling for processing camps and a private citizen army. Private citizen army. Okay, here we go. A group of prominent military contractors, including the former Blackwater CEO Eric Prince, has pitched the Trump White House on a proposal to carry out mass deportations through a network of processing camps on military bases, a private fleet of 100 planes, and a small army of private citizens empowered to make arrests. So, just to put in perspective for you how wild this is, the CEO of Blackwater is a guy by the name of Eric Prince. What is Blackwater? Blackwater is a private mercenary army that was used, and by the way, they are also Christian fundamentalists. That's noteworthy. They were used in Iraq. And in Iraq, there were many Blackwater officials.
That's important. The Christian fundamentalist part is important because remember I was talking about the white nationalist tattoo that every time you say something to his self about it, he tries to play us like we stupid and says that is a Christian tattoo. That tattoo has been associated with white nationalists. So that's why. Let's continue.
Soldiers who committed many atrocities and war crimes, including one called the Nisour Square Massacre. Many atrocities and war crimes, including Blackwater officials, Blackwater soldiers who committed many atrocities and war crimes, including one called the Nisour Square Massacre. They went into an Iraqi square in the middle of the day and started gunning down civilians left and right. And they were found guilty of this crime. And Donald Trump pardoned them in his first term. He pardoned Blackwater war criminals. Why? Because Pete Hegseth knew these guys, went and lobbied Trump to say, hey, can you free my war criminal buddies? And Trump said, sure, why not? I'll free the war criminals. And so he did.
Now, let's be clear. I've already talked to you guys about him going to him to free his buddies when we reviewed his confirmation hearing. I wasn't sure that he was going to even talk about this in the story. I just heard the part that creating a private army. I thought that that's what ICE job was for. I thought that that's what that old grumpy man was doing. I thought that that's why he signed an executive order to be able to release the military to do whatever he has them to do on American soil. So if he's going to hire his private army to handle illegals, what the fuck did he sign that executive order to have the military free to do whatever they're told to do on American soil? Do you understand? Do you understand? You got ICE, but so you're gonna hire this defense company. And where's the money going to come from? Because we're so in debt, and we're looking for waste, fraud, and abuse. And you got the whole army. So why do you need these people? Because they want the rich to keep getting richer. That dude, Eric Prince from Blackwater, is a billionaire now, just from his work in the area. And you know who I think is. His sister is the former Department of Education under 45, 47, Bessie DeVos. Is that not DeVos? Bessie DeVos. Yes. Okay, let's continue.
Eric Prince is the CEO of Blackwater, the private Christian fundamentalist mercenary army that are in the war crimes business. And this is who he wants creating a private army to aid with mass deportation. So they say this: the blueprint, laid out in a 26-page document President Donald Trump's advisors received before the inauguration, carries an estimated price tag of $25 billion and recommends a range of aggressive tactics to rapidly deport 12 million people before the 2026 midterms, including some that would likely face legal and operational challenges, according to a copy obtained by Politico. The group, which includes some former immigration officials, is led by Prince, who has close ties to Trump, and Bill Matthews, the former chief operating officer of Blackwater, the military contractor known for its role in providing security training and logistical support to U.S. forces in Iraq and Afghanistan during the war on terror. The emergence of the proposal, marked unsolicited, is indicative of the major hurdles the administration faces as it struggles to find the resources to fulfill Trump's ambitious deportation agenda. The administration's desire to make good on that signature campaign promise has created an opening for private contractors who see a rare area in which the Trump administration is likely to increase spending. Guys, we're seeing this across the board too with private prisons. The private prison stocks skyrocketed after Trump won because they're under the impression, oh, we're going to get these big contracts to have immigrant concentration camps where we store immigrants there and then eventually ship them wherever the hell we want to ship them. And then, of course, you had Trump. Remember, Trump came out and announced, we're sending immigrants to Guantanamo Bay, but don't worry, we're sending the worst of the worst. Well, guess what? Somebody did an analysis and found out very quickly that a very large number of the people being sent to Guantanamo Bay have zero criminal record. So it was a lie when he said, oh, we're only sending the worst of the worst. The violent ones, the real violent ones are being sent to Guantanamo Bay. This is an extrajudicial prison, no due process, no habeas corpus, no way to hey, should I be here? Can I check? Is there any recourse whatsoever? Can I have a lawyer? Like all that stuff, throw it out. Just exactly like what happened with the war on terror when Bush and Cheney put people there illegally, right? Kept innocent people there for an extended period of time. Trump is doing that with immigrants. And you're not going to be surprised to find out there's been some horror stories so far. ICE detained a Puerto Rican family. Well, guess what? They were U.S. citizens. Oh, one of the people they detained in that family was a toddler. You also had a U.S. veteran in Newark, New Jersey, who ICE arrested. And, of course...
Okay, so the link is in my description box. You can check that out. Yeah, I think I have one more thing I want to share with you guys. It's a vast amount of topics that went on just on yesterday. I'm not sure if I'm going to go live tomorrow. This shit is exhausting. Remember, I kept playing for you guys before the election, after the election, before the inauguration, since the inauguration, that Project 2025 has a 185-day program. So, I think I'm going to show you this. Another way how the princess secretary is not telling us the truth. We are not saving all of this money that has been alleged, all of this corruption that has been found mysteriously after reporters came out and said how the muskrat has been fudging figures. He said he saved $8 trillion when the figure was actually $8 million, and he didn't save it because the contract had already been mostly paid out. It was a 6-year contract. He's been triple counting things to make the amount seems bigger because he can't understand how to read the coding. So he see it down twice and or 3 times, and he just added together just to bolster a big number of correct waste, fraud, and abuse that he's been finding. And mysteriously, he snuck in. Remember, he said that all of his proof would be on the Doge page, and he snuck in. And the top, I think it was the top 5 or the top 8 most the figures that had the most fraud and abuse were wiped off the page with just silently wiped off the page because it was inaccurate information. And these were the top 5 or the top 8 things that had the largest dollar amount of alleged waste, fraud, and abuse. So let's see what the muskrat has been up to. He's been lying. And getting his own government contracts.
Musk says his campaign to fire tens of thousands of federal workers and cancel government contracts is in the name of rooting out fraud and waste. His Doge group has posted what it calls a wall of receipts on its website that claims it has saved billions by cutting certain federal contracts. But reports and government documents prove that many of these so-called savings are either misleading or incorrect. Our White House correspondent, Laura Lopez, has been looking into this and joins us now. So, Laura, what kinds of savings are Musk and his team claiming, and does the math add up?
So Elon Musk and his team on that wall of receipts say that their total cuts equal $65 billion in savings. They base that on contract cancellations, firing workers, and, quote, fraud detection. But as the New York Times first reported, 5 of Doge's biggest contracts that they say have resulted in savings ended up being deleted from that wall of receipts after outlets pointed out that there were errors. And some of the biggest errors in savings are, as CBS first reported, a USAID contract for $650 million that was listed 3 times. As The Intercept first reported, a Social Security contract listed as $232 million instead of $560,000, and an ICE contract that Doge listed as $8 billion, when in reality it was $8 million. And it's important to note that that $8 million ICE contract was a credit line. That means that ICE may have never ended up paying out that total $8 million. And some of these contracts were on the wall of receipts were either already paid or canceled under the Biden administration. So Doge is essentially taking a lot of credit in time for some of these contracts that don't appear to be actually the savings that they say they are.
I know you were working the phones and talking to vendors who appear on this so-called wall of receipts. What did they tell you?
So our colleague Kyle Madura spoke to one of these federal vendors, a Taylor Jones. His company Culture Point does leadership and management training. And his company was listed on Doge's wall of receipts as having a contract for almost $10 million. But Taylor Jones told NewsHour that not only was the amount of money wrong, it was actually $100,000, but it was not a guaranteed payment. It was a credit line. And the agreement with the government was never signed.
We never had a contract, and we've actually never had a contract with the government that was, a $10 million contract or even a $1 million contract. So not that we're opposed to it, but it's never happened. So we were a little surprised to start getting calls from reporters about a non-contract that was never executed.
Okay, so that's what we're getting from the Department of Government Efficiency, a bunch of bullshit and lies. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, let you see what's really going on. See, because we get all of this blustering at these press conferences from a dingy ass. Oh, did you guys hear that from now on, it is not going to be the unbiased press. The White House will determine what press is allowed into that press briefings. I don't believe. Let me see before I save that. Hold on one second. I don't think I added this. There used to be some unbiased press corps that set up who would be allowed in White House briefings. That includes events and on the plane. But now they have taken that away, and the White House themselves will determine who is allowed into press briefings. They're still, the AP has sued the White House and the White House press secretary for throwing them out because they were so ass hurt that they would not call the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. So the AP has been thrown out. Let me see. We'll take my word for it if you want to. Let me see. Okay, let me see if I can find it. Okay, I can't find it. I'll if I come live tomorrow, I'll definitely show it to you guys. But yeah, that's what's going on as far as what media is even going to be allowed in the press corps. So since I talked about this, I'm going to stop this screen and I'm going to share a little bit of this with you. And if you like the people that I get the information from, please subscribe to their page. So here we go. This is about the gold cards.
Dog sycophant cult members who just love and worship Donald Trump, who are giddy with delight at being able to read his posts like the Labor Secretary Lutnick did yesterday. But the most just sickening thing is this particular attempt to profit off of the presidency, to turn our country into, look, there's been this narrative for a long time in the Republican Party, and it really took upon steam when Ross Perot ran for office. I'm just a businessman. I'm a businessman. We need to run this country like a business. The government's not a business. It's not there to turn a profit. It's there to support the citizenry, we the people, to provide services, to make our country a better place, an easier place to live, to help lift up those who need assistance. It's not a business. It's just not a business. Even carrying debt, it's not like a household debt. That's not what it's about. And Donald Trump has now just brought into the fold a new generation of automatons who will believe that the government should be run as a business while he pilfers the treasury. Later, when they cut to Howard Lutnick, and it's just him and mop of freak hair that is just wispy and all over the place. And when they cut to Howard Lutnick, maybe we'll come back to it later. When they cut to Howard Lutnick and it's just him in frame, look over in the bottom corner where Donald Trump should be, and you'll see his wispy, he's not even in frame, and his fucking hair has a mind of its own. Watch this.
We're going to be doing something else that's going to be very, very good. We're going to be selling a gold card. You have a green card. This is a gold card. We're going to be putting a price on that card of about $5 million, and that's going to give you green card privileges plus. It's going to be a route to citizenship, and wealthy people will be coming into our country by buying this card. They'll be wealthy, and they'll be successful, and they'll be spending a lot of money and paying a lot of taxes and employing a lot of people.
Okay, so everybody who's wealthy is not successful. There's some wealthy drug dealers. There's some wealthy all types of people. But if they're wealthy, it's just okay. Okay, let's continue.
We think it's going to be extremely successful. Never been done before or anything like this, but it's something that we're going to be putting out over the next, would you say 2 weeks out? Do you want to say a couple of words about it?
Sure. President, are there
Wait a minute.
requirements for that gold card? Do you have to invest a certain amount of money in this country in order to qualify for that gold card?
Yeah, exactly.
So the EB-5.
Yeah. Thank you for giving me that idea. You're gonna have to invest so much in this country. Of course you will. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Program was really you lend some money, but it was full of nonsense, make-believe, and fraud, and it was a way to get a green card that was low-priced. So the president said, rather than having this sort of ridiculous EB-5 program, we're going to end the EB-5 program. We're going to replace it with the Trump Gold Card, which is really a green card gold, so they'll be able to pay. So,
okay, let's be clear. What they're saying is, if you're poor, wherever you're born in, okay, I'm not for our country being overrun with people who no country can just have open borders and absorb all people from all places. However, do these people now understand that this is a country of immigrants, that they are immigrants themselves, and why are these white people are not looked at to be shipped back to their countries? I don't see a block of Asians being shipped back to their countries. When I showed you how the Asians are coming through South America from China and coming up through South America, and these people have money. See, because that's the only thing that matters. If you have money, it's not about if you're a good person, if you're anything, it's about money. So let's be clear. If you have money, or if you can help billionaires make money, and the billionaires are in the tech department. Let's be clear.
$5 million to the U.S. government.
It's really a green card, gold card, green card, lots of make-believe, lots of fraud, lots of nonsense. If there's so much nonsense, I say this all the time, if there's so much nonsense and so much make believe, whatever that means. You wouldn't be able to point to just one thing, one instance, one piece of evidence, one slice of empirical data to show us your claim to be true. They don't do that because there is no, it's just the new thing they say. It's, oh, there's fraud. Oh, we're not going to cut Medicaid or Medicare except when there's fraud. And then all of a sudden, no, there's all kinds of fraud. We got to cut it.
Okay, so there's the link to that video in the description box. I think I pretty much discussed a whole lot of stuff. I'm gonna drop the link. I don't know what's going on in the YouTube streets. I heard a bit of QB last night. Go over there and check out QB. Let me make sure I touched on everything, because I meant to show you that yesterday about the gold card. Don't forget, get all your shopping done. Reserve your precious black dollar. You know, they don't hear you unless it's about money. So, oh, and goodbye, Hakeem Jeffries. Yes, I got to play this because Hakeem Jeffrey is not the man, this man that we need right now. And I told you guys, and I'm glad somebody else is actually saying this out loud as well. So let me share this screen, because Hakeem Jeffries is always have a microphone in his face, and he cannot distinctly tell you the plan of the Democrats. He always tell you, well, what we're going to have to do is learn how to do this. Motherfucker, you ain't learned how to get your message across. We've had bad messaging. Instead of always being in front of a microphone talking about we've had bad messaging, this is your opportunity to give good messaging, but you're not doing it. You're always talking about what you need to work on, and you ain't worked on shit yet to enunciate what we're gonna do to get out of this motherfucking fucking Alice in Wonderland nightmare. Oh, goodbye, Hakeem Jeffries. I loved you and your light color eyes. I thought you was sexy as hell, but I got to say, it's a no. It's a no for Hakeem Jeffries. Bye-bye, Hakeem.
So look, I've been telling you guys, man, that this moment is different. This moment is different because for the first time in my life, you have liberals are distrusting of mainstream media, and they're distrusting of Democratic politicians. There was literally a 37-point swing among Democratic voters with how they feel about their Democratic politicians in 2017 after Trump won the first time, and how they feel now after Trump won the second time. 37-point swing where now Democratic voters are like, these Democratic politicians aren't doing anywhere near enough. They need to step it up. They need to fight. They need to be aggressive, right? So that's fertile ground, man. That's fertile ground. The numbers were similar when you had the Tea Party rise up on the right with how Republican voters felt about Republican politicians. So it was effectively a version of a grassroots coup within the Republicans when this happened on their side. And what we need right now on the Democratic side is a grassroots coup, right? And so the ground is fertile for like a Democratic version of Trump who's not interested in bipartisanship and is interested in implementing our policies, for that person to rise up and fight MAGA relentlessly and deliver on things the American people need, like higher minimum wage, for example, like Medicare for all, et cetera. So this is a great example of how clearly fed up the grassroots is. Here you have Rachel Maddow, who's one of few remaining liberal MSNBC hosts who I would say is in relatively good standing with the Democratic base. She's one of the few that they trust, and she's actually garnered an audience in her own respect. Ain't harder. This is ridiculous. Here we go.
The other thing that Americans are stressed out about, though, right now, is that policy doesn't feel like it's the main conversation right now. It feels like we are in the middle of a ketamine-fueled, middle-of-the-night, autocratic power grab that is rendering Congress irrelevant, that's rendering policy irrelevant, and that's rendering the rule of law an afterthought, if not a joke, to those who are planning on staying in power indefinitely without benefit of further elections. I mean, it is not about, it is about a bad budget. That's one of the things you have to contend with. But the fight here feels like it's on a different scale than the kinds of legislative point-counterpoint stuff that I think Democrats and Republicans are used to fighting over. And I think what Americans are sort of clamoring for is to hear from you personally, as the senior Democrat in Washington, in the House where the margins are so narrow, to hear from you that you understand the scale of the threat and you have ideas about how to interrupt what feels like something that we have not experienced since the Civil War in terms of the threat to our republic.
Damn, son. She's basically like, hey, man, are you really the person for this moment?
And this is when he should have his ideas. He's talking about what we need to do.
I don't think the base thinks that you know what the fuck you're doing, and I kind of think they're right. That's what that question was. That question was oozing with anger and contempt. And like, are you really prepared for this? Do you even understand what's going on here? And my guess is she's seen a lot of the things that the rest of us has seen around Hakeem Jeffries, and how he's simply not prepared for the moment. Wait until you hear his answer. His answer is abysmal. Here we go.
Well, it's certainly the case that we understand the scale of the threat. That can't be doubted. The CPC, which I'm a part of, definitively understands the scale of the threat. Our communities have been under siege, as you pointed out, since before the Civil War. I'm a direct descendant of those very communities. So we understand the struggle, the history, the strength of people like John Lewis, which we're going to channel. That's my experience. That's my personal experience.
Okay, so he's talking about his personal experience of being a black man that has nothing to do with what she's talking about right now. Now you bringing it down to your person. Oh, okay. There's a whole lot of black people who have these personal experience. Yes, we understand your personal experience, but your personal experience has nothing to do with what we're going to do. What is the plan to move forward? What is the messaging? It's not about your personal lived experience. Because if it was about your personal and my personal lived experience, we wouldn't be in this hole in the first place. And we are damn near at the point where we're going to have to do what John Lewis actually did. So where's the plan? John Lewis was on those bus boycotts. John Lewis got his head cracked open, trying to get us ahead, and we're going right back to where John Lewis. You ain't gonna have to channel John Lewis, motherfucker. You should be being John Lewis.
That's my family's experience.
That's such a standard answer that he had just waiting in the chamber to release. Just standard politician talk. He's not done. It gets worse.
And as a caucus, it's definitively the case that we understand it. Listen, we launched the Rapid Response Task Force and Litigation Working Group. It's going to be led by Joe Neguse and, of course, a brilliant constitutional lawyer, Jamie Raskin, to be able to respond to and work with our allies like Tish James and others in part of what we are responding to. Listen.
He brought up his task force. His task force. You have got to be kidding me. By the way, he mentioned 2 people on that task force. He didn't mention the other 2. The other 2, one of them is 81 years old on the Rapid Response Task Force, and the other one is 74-year-old Jerry Connolly, who has terminal esophageal cancer, who also was able to knock AOC out of the running to be the head of the Oversight Committee, which is one of the most visible committees to fight back against MAGA. He launched a task force, a Rapid Response Task Force.
See, I don't think he's the man for the moment as well. A task force with 2 old geezers in there, and one unfortunately who has a terminal illness. And on the rapid response team, Jasmine Crockett, and they would not allow AOC to get it because it's about seniority. No, it's about the message and what we're going to do. They wouldn't allow her on that task force because they wanted to award us people who had seniority. So it's a lot. It's a lot. Do they even want to win? Hakeem Jeffries was in Silicon Valley himself, warming up to his billionaire donors to make sure they were still cool. So maybe that's why he's so lukewarm. He's not the man for this time. Period, point blank. So that's all I got. Let me drop the link just in case anybody want to come up. If you want to support the channel, $ Ronnie Q, join the membership. Jasmine Crockett is on the task period. She should be on there. Exactly. So I'm going to do a membership live this weekend. Good morning, Truth and Reason. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff, a lot of information that I gave this morning. And let me say something. Somebody contacted me to say that that country bumpkin foghorn leghorn is still ass hurt from getting timed out by Choreo Lover. And I was told, I didn't go over there to see, but this is what I was told. The old idiot had the audacity to say about Choreo Lover. Choreo Lover, I hope she gets hit by a truck and die. He's mad because he got timed out. Now, let's not forget that he also wished some disgusting stuff on T. Danielle. He wished that she came home and her whole family was unalive, and that somebody had taken her husband violently from the back. So let's be clear that these people are really unstable people. Somebody while you're wishing about her and other people's family member dying, you have to remember your family member is dying. According to you, your family member is dying. And everything that you're wishing on someone else, that shit is technically, I hear that that's not your. He never planted the seed for you, because you're a whole bitch. You're a whole bitch out here, and you wish so much, but you should wish that you had the fucking gut to stand up to teenagers who just made you look like a little pussy ass punk that you have surely proven to be. A whole pussy punk to teenagers, but you think that you're moving something when you say dumb shit as your fucking family member is laying up there with pussy black lungs dying. See, you can wish for what you want, but you're gonna get what you get from talking all this dumb shit about death on other people, as death is circling around your motherfucking doorstep. And ain't nobody gonna give a fuck about it when you come on here crying about it. Nobody give a fuck about it. You got what you wish for on others, motherfucker. So don't come out here crying about that nigga who you want to call your father, who nutting up in your mother. Just because a nigga nutting up in your mother don't mean that that's your father, bitch. Anyway. He's a whole motherfucking idiot. Okay, so that's it. I hope you guys have a great, blessed day. Thank you for joining me. Shout out to everyone who came in. Please hit the like button on your way out. And I hope you guys have a great remainder of your day. All right, bye-bye. Wait a minute. The Great White Phantom. Well, hold on now. Didn't you and the hoes with heart cast, didn't you all do that to that white man, wishing death and destruction and everything? What white man? I never wish death and destruction on nobody. That's not what I do. So I'm going to correct you that I did not wish death on anyone. So I held on. So I don't know what the white man you're talking about, but I don't wish death on no one. All the best to Choreo. Thank you for dropping down, and I'm glad that I was able to answer your question. All right, guys, have a good day.
She's on the air. It's time for Ronnie Q. Ronnie Q. It's time for Ronnie Q. Ronnie Q. It's time for Ronnie in the morning while I'm driving. Ronnie Q. I really come alive It's time for Ronnie Q. I listen to my Ronnie. Ronnie.
And let's be clear, there's no reason for me to wish death on anyone because no one's getting out of here alive. You just don't know how bad you could make your exit by wishing death on others. Have a good day. Thank you guys for being here. Bye-bye.
Sweet, sweet, sweet Ronnie. No day complete without my Ronnie. She can't be beat. Sweet, sweet Ronnie.